We'll get to Wednesday's action in just a moment, but turning back to Sunday. I was away in Duluth for a few days, so I want to quick run through some of the action we missed. You saw the win expectancy chart from that series-ending game at Toronto. Unfortunately, the Twins paganed themselves. They were up 6-4 in the bottom of the eighth. Emilio Pagan gives up a 3-run home run to have a sour finish to that really strong series that they had up in Toronto. And then they kind of reversed their fortunes then on Tuesday after an off day on Monday. See, that win probability chart looks a lot better for the Twins. Devin Williams, one of the better closers, a guy who's never given up multiple home runs in an outing, a guy who didn't have a blown save this year, takes over with the Brewers leading, and Michael A. Taylor hits a home run to get the Twins within 1 run. Willi Castro comes off the bench, steals second base, and then on this Donovan Solano hit, runs through a stop sign. Just pure Castro chaos. Willi Castro, he is Mr. Chaos, and it paid off. So sometimes, when things are going well, it seems like balls are bouncing your way, things are happening your way, and Carlos Correa capped off a pretty special game for the Twins, a very impressive bottom of the ninth inning with maybe the moment of the year right there, a walk-off home run, his first career walk-off home run. So changing gears into the minor leagues on Sunday, Alerick Soularie had a 2-homer game for the Wichita Wind Surge. That's pretty notable because he entered that day with only 1 home run on the season. So he's a guy who's been playing a little bit of second, a little bit of outfield previously. He's only playing outfield so far this year. Seems to be working well for him. A 360 on-base percentage and a 763 OPS entering today for Alerick Soularie. Chris Williams, we'll see quite a bit of him in this highlight package, but my goodness, this was a bomb, and he was just getting started in this one. 3 home runs on Tuesday. A 3-homer game. This guy has tons of power. He hit 28 home runs last year, 11 of them in July alone. So this is a guy that can get extremely hot for stretches, which we saw last year. And 3-homer game. What else can you say about that? Well, wow. Just seeing the ball extremely well right now. And again, we're going to see some more of Chris Williams in a little bit from today's highlights. But also want to show in this game Gilberto Celestino with a pretty impressive opposite field home run of his own, coming back from a torn thumb ligament. Not sure where he fits, but the Twins are going to at least have to activate him off the 60-day injured list once his rehab assignment's over. Not sure if he will also join the Twins, but they're going to have to open up a spot on the 40-man. Either way, it'll be interesting. Bailey Ober. So we are transitioning into today's highlights. Bailey Ober was on the mound for the Twins, and man, has this guy been dependable. Wow, 6 innings pitched, 6 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, so held the Brewers to 2 runs over 6 innings. He has a 2.65 ERA, a 0.99 whip in 10 starts for the Twins. Take a look at that bullpen. The bullpen, 3 perfect innings. 9 up, 9 down, no hits, no runs, no walks, 5 strikeouts for the bullpen of Brock Stewart, Jhoan Duran, and Griffin Jacks. So hats off to those guys in a tight ball game. Moving over to the hitting highlights. Here we see Correa again, the hero. The other night, he adds a 2-run triple with 2 outs in the 3rd inning. And this is a rally going here. The Twins scored all 4 of their runs with 2 outs in the 3rd inning, thanks in part to that Correa triple. They were really kind of picking on their right fielder out here, Brian Anderson. Rough inning, and then a miscommunication here between him and the second baseman just to cap it all off. Oh, ugly. And again, sometimes it's just that's the difference between winning and losing. You just need something to go your way. You need some good sequencing, which if you look at this, the Twins only scored 5 runs. 4 runs on 5 hits, 5 hits. They drew 7 walks, and they only struck out 7 times. So 7 walks and 7 strikeouts. That's encouraging. You see Edouard Julien up there playing real well. Melissa Berman of Twins Daily shared some pictures at the game. Horrible air quality all across the state today. You see here from the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency, unhealthy air there at Target Field today. So that's why, if you notice in the highlights, it looked real smoky. It's those Canadian wildfires, the smoke from those coming down. So as promised, though, back to Chris Williams. And no, this is not a repeat of the highlights we saw from Tuesday. He had 2 more home runs today. So 5 home runs in the last 2 games for Chris Williams. Again, this is a guy that can get really hot. He now has a 998 OPS, 8th round pick back in 2018. That was the Trevor Larnach and Ryan Jeffers draft. He is primarily a first baseman, but he also does very little catching, a little bit of catching. Not a guy who really gets back there a ton, but should also add that Jair Camargo hit his 10th homer for the Saints today. But moving on to Cory Lewis, you saw that knuckleball in his warm-up, and man, did he feature that pitch. Usually that's just sort of something he sprinkles in. Early in this game, he was throwing it a ton, and of course this is a stretch here in which he threw 4 in a row to this batter to strike him out. But of course that helped his fastball play up later in this outing, kind of leading on the fastball with some runners on, and they really had a hard time. But still taking a look at him sprinkling in some knuckleballs, but you'll see a couple of these 92, 91 mile per hour fastballs are looking about 98 after those, high 70s knuckleballs. But he pitched great again. This was his second start for Cedar Rapids since being promoted up from Fort Myers. 5 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. 9 strikeouts in 5 innings pitched today for Cory Lewis. He struck out 9 of the 17 batters he faced, so dude was just dealing in this game. He now, on the whole season between both levels, I want to call out that Andrew Cassetti frame job there. Also, by the way, Cassetti threw a guy out at second, a nice throw there. But Lewis has a 2.37 ERA and a 0.99 whip between both levels this year. And, oh, by the way, Andrew Cassetti, who was catching in that clip, also had a double and a home run in that game for Cedar Rapids. Gonna put this out a little bit earlier, so taking advantage of all these afternoon games today. We're not going to take a look at any of the wind surge highlights for this evening. Not going to hold off on publishing this recap until then. But here's the run-through of everything else that happened down in the minor leagues today, Wednesday. Already quite a bit to go through, so if anything crazy happens in that wind surge game, I'll make sure to relay that in the comments later this evening. But again, coming back from 4 nights away from home, I've got a lot of unpacking to do. So going to take advantage of that later and hopefully get to bed at a decent time, back up and at work tomorrow morning. But thank you so much for checking this out. Thanks to all the channel members for your support. Here are the premium members. We'll talk again soon.